Hollywood suddenly wants to change the rules as they face an incoming existential threat from artificial intelligence and the destruction of their industry as a result of the Wokepocalypse. Today, we'll tell you what it is they're up to, trying to modify the entertainment industry so that movie stars, celebrities, and yes, professionals, producers, etc., can survive. Folks, we got a scoop for you. I don't know that we can call it an exclusive, but we can say for sure that LW Ghost, someone with quite the track record when it comes to Hollywood, has connected dots in a way that nobody perhaps has until now. So, for you drive-by journos out there, grab the jumbo pencils. You're going to need them. And yes, I know you can't write in cursive, but do the best you can. Out of Deadline by Dominic Patton and Katie Campione. Told you that's going to make you happy, that last name. Katie Campione. Got a ring to it.
Yes.
Yeah, Campione. You know I love that. I love Italian names. She goes on.
It's a good pasta. Hollywood's big new labor deal. Studios to offer, it's not a pasta. Studios to offer Guild's health plans $100 million lifeline in exchange for longer multi-year contracts in 2026. Now this came out December 22nd in 2025. So big yawn, right everybody? Everybody just went on. I didn't even notice this. And then Lou came by and said, you know, Pro, you missed one. You missed a big one. And I have realized he's right. Let me read the details, and then Lou's going to connect the dots for us. Folks, don't go anywhere. You want to know this one. SAG-AFTRA is already lined up to be the first Hollywood guild to kick off 2026 contract negotiations with the studios and streamers, and both sides have some big asks. Pay attention to that, folks. YouTube, get the CC right on this. Big asks. No, don't. You know what? I give up. Fine. The closed captioning.
Yeah. Need less S's.
We apologize.
Fewer S's.
Of the other, if your child was watching the closed captioning, folks,
if there were
wasn't
fewer S's in Hollywood, we wouldn't be in this situation.
True story.
Point well made. Among them, Deadline has learned the now Greg Heisinger-led Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers is preparing to offer the Actors Union, the Christopher Nolan-run DGA, and the WGA a massive injection of cash to get the respective health plan in tip-top shape. In response, the studios and streamers want the guilds to agree to shift their contract lengths from the current 3-year span to more like, 5 years. Now, Lou, almost everybody out there, that's the story. That's the entire thing. Almost everybody out there read that or didn't read that and kept on going.
Yeah.
You did not. Lou, there's something here, and it relates with artificial intelligence. It relates to the Wokepocalypse that we've been talking about, where Hollywood is emptying out a lot of content from the pipeline from before a time that they knew, hey, this whole woke thing's going to blow up in our face. And so they've got all this stuff that's kind of wiping them out. Hey, Ella McKay, we see you out there. Lou, you picked up on something here. What's the big deal? How did you find this in a health insurance article?
Well, here's what you have to understand, and I have to do a little bit of groundwork so you understand the deal. Right now, the three major unions, which is SAG-AFTRA and the Writers Guild as one group because they're on the same year, the Directors Guild and the below-the-line folks, the AMPTP, or everybody else. They're every 3 years in a 3-year staggered program, okay? And the idea is that whoever goes first kind of sets the pattern for the next two, usually. Usually. Okay, doesn't have to be, but usually. Now, the reason why that's important is there's also a law under the labor regulations that you can't have sympathy strikes. In other words, if, for example, the writers go out, the directors and the actors can't say, well, we're going out too because we're on their side legally. Okay.
Lou, let me pause you right there just for a minute, because there's going to be some people who don't know you. They're watching for the first time, so that everybody just understands. They're not listening to
I have been there in the room for these negotiations several times, and
fair enough. That's all we need. The pedigree is there.
So the point is, normally anybody out there who's in a union, whether it's an industrial union or whatever else, you go to the contract and you find out all the different things and you get some kind of a deal. But because the impending end of a contract is anathema to Hollywood, by which I mean, if you think there might be a strike in 4 months, you don't start a movie. You don't want to get caught in the middle with your pants down. There is this thing called early negotiations, where both sides say, listen, let's throw out all the peripheral issues. Let's get down to the 3 or 4 or 5 we really care about and only deal with those and try and make a deal well in advance so everybody knows where we stand and there is not this suspension of production. All well and good. That's the way it's worked for these many years. Okay? But now they're saying, hey, you guys have health plans that are in the toilet. You need money. We'll give you the money if instead we shift to a 5-year system. Now, I am not saying that things can't happen between contract years. They have what they call side letters and agreements and things. But still, if you think AI advances a whole heck of a lot in the last 3 years, how much will it advance in 5 years? And how far behind will that contract be to the current situation in 5 years? It's a bribe to get them to buy stability at their expense. Okay? Now, understand something. These health plans, in a funny way, the loss of employment has actually helped their solvency, because in order to qualify for the health plan and the pension plan, you have to earn a certain amount of money. And if people aren't working and they don't what's called vest in the plan and get paid by it. So there are fewer people working. People are working fewer numbers of hours because of these shows that run 8, 10 episodes instead of 23 and all the rest of that. And therefore, the plans are in trouble, but they're not as in bad trouble as if more people were working in a strange, weird way. But still, the writers and the actors' plans are really, 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 really underwater if they had to pay everybody, which they don't. The Directors Guild is not so bad off. In fact, there was a time when I was involved at the Guild where I just sort of said one year, I said, listen, why don't we just dissolve the whole place, divvy up the money in the pension plan, which was in the trillions at that point, and start over again. But nobody took me seriously, although it would have been a heck of a bonanza. I cannot imagine anybody with a sense of timing and history and understanding of where all this technology is going and how fast, thinking, oh, that'll be good. We'll just leave everything alone for 5 years, even if it helped their pension plans. But if they go for it, which the management, the people in charge at SAG and at AFTRA and at the Writers Guild are some wacky folks, they will be doing a short-term political good for the people who are still getting paid by those plans and a long-term disaster for their membership overall, in my opinion.
Before we go to culture and Lorne, I want to come back to you for a follow-up, Lou. I imagine that when you're looking at the historic trends, part of what you're talking about is the AI question. And I anticipate that by the end of the year, we've all heard that Elon Musk says that AI, and in particular the video generation abilities, is going to 10x this year.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And that's from where we are right now to 10x, I think, is you can make movies. So, Lou, 3 years from now.
I think you're underestimating that. No, I'm just going to say, I think, you are like understating what the possibilities will be in a year.
Well,
and by the way,
trilogies, folks, trilogies. We're going to make.
Wait a minute. The last contracts, remember, the ones that we went through all those strikes and terrible upheaval for, were supposedly fixing this.
Well, okay.
Surprise!
So when that happened, folks, go back and watch the videos from that year, because we took a lot of heat. We declared they've completely screwed this up. Fran Drescher was in charge of one of the guilds, the actors, SAG-AFTRA.
The nanny.
The nanny. And we said there is an existential threat, and it is years away. And they just gave up everything on AI, and here we are. So, Lou, if 5 years, given what's happening and the paradigm shift that we're facing, that's an eternity, and I think it's purposeful. I think this is to defend them against change.
In the case of actors, it could be, the good news is your health plan is paid up. The bad news is there's nobody earning any vesting to get paid by the health plan because nobody's working.
But if you get the health plan, do you get to keep the health plan?
Not if you don't keep.
Is that a lie you would buy twice?
You have to keep earning. You have to, like, there's.
Well, that's what I don't know. What I don't know is once you're in this, let's say
you can fall out of it. You can
in
fall
2027. Okay, so it doesn't cover you for 5 years.
No.
Okay.
It covers you every year based on your earnings. In the case of the unions we're talking about, in the case of the IA, it's even more insidious because it's not based on dollars; it's based on hours worked. Which means if you used to work a TV series for 23, 24 episodes a year and get a pilot or two or a commercial, you were good for the year. But now, if, oh boy, I have a hit series. Yeah, but it only runs 8-10 weeks. We got a problem, Houston.
All right, Culture. Lauren, any questions you have for Lou? And then there's something I really want to hammer in just a minute, but you guys take it away for a minute.
Okay, so I'll ask you a question just from the business side of the equation, because again, Hollywood's rare in that the unions are doing a 3-year cycle. If you are an electrician or if you're in any other trade, it's usually a 5-year contract you're signing into. So wouldn't all this be doing is putting that into the same cycle?
In businesses that don't change as much in 5 years as Hollywood would in 3.
Well, like the International Brotherhood of Electricians.
Okay, fine. But if they go out on strike, who else at the factory isn't working is the question. And chances are
a lot of people.
Yeah. But in Hollywood, these things are so interrelated to each other. I mean, you can't have a movie without the actors so far.
Well, you can't have a movie without the electrics, the grips. Yeah, you're right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
in the past, Lou, who did this favor to go from 3 years to 5 years? And has it ever been attempted to this degree?
Not that I'm aware of. It has never even been offered. But again, they're offering a bribe. They're saying, here's $100 million. There's another question. With inflation up, down, or sideways, what's that $100 million worth in 5 years?
Much, much less. And that's the other problem is they've already diminished the value of that money, which is why the health plan currently is in big, big trouble, right? And they tried to get to solvency this last year. But first of all, the medical coverage, if you get it, is extraordinary in Hollywood. Second of all, there are 40% less job starts in Hollywood as of this year, and that number is increasing. So you could get to 50% less than 2018, 2019 numbers, which, again, were pinnacle or peak years in Hollywood's history. But the whole point being is that shows, films, and other things will be fewer of them, which means, as Lou already pointed out, because he's brilliant, there'll be less people employed, which means they'll be paying out less. So how much farther that $100 million goes depends on a lot of other factors, including the cost of healthcare in the United States, which doesn't seem to be taking a break from going up all the time. So I
one more point to make about that, which is all of these $400 million made in England movies, the only people subject to those plans would be the actors and the writer and the director. Right. Everybody else is below the line and isn't in the American Union, and therefore, who cares?
That's true.
So,
and that's the thing when, you have to pay the piper. Well, the bill doesn't come due in the States when it comes to everybody that's below the line that's working, let's say, at Pinewood Studios in London, right? That is on the backs of the British taxpayers and the other people that are, on the hook for that in that particular location. So, look, we're not the only place where healthcare is getting more expensive. And, there's a lot of reasons not to go up to Canada because, if you get sick up there, they're okay with you deciding not to be around anymore.
Right.
So it's an entirely different conversation. But my whole point is this would be a windfall for Hollywood getting a 5-year contract structure. Or am I wrong?
Oh, absolutely. It would be for the producers because they would lock in a deal that changing conditions would not affect. And they know the conditions are going to change.
Wow.
It's just that simple.
Lauren, go ahead with your comment, then I've got a question for you.
Well, I wanted to ask that Sean Astin is currently the head of SAG, not Fran Drescher. I wondered, is that partially because of what she gave away in the negotiations last time?
I don't think so. It's just, you never stay ahead of anything in this business that long. And she had a good run. And you got to remember, these guilds are run by the executive director and their staff as far as negotiations and things are concerned.
Yeah, she just was getting paid to go shopping.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but there's two issues. One is what's the deal with the studios, and one is what's the political deal with the membership. I have seen situations in the past, and they're too long to go over in this show here today, but maybe we'll do that someday. Where the guilds made decisions based on internal politics that were absolutely insanely stupid, but they did.
That never happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, in this case, it was enormously stupid. So it's a long story, but an interesting one. Someday maybe we'll do that.
Let me go to Lauren real quick. Lauren, we're at a time when Elon Musk is declaring by 2030 Hollywood's over.
He's right.
And as it is currently constituted,
in Los Angeles and in California specifically.
I personally believe that acting will continue from real people, but it'll be live entertainment, and I'm looking forward to an explosion of live entertainment, of theatrical events in theaters with real people. I look forward to that. But Lauren, this is a huge ask because, and Lou, do I have this right, that if they approve this would go in effect in 2027?
Yeah. And it hadn't really formally been presented. It's just being talked about backstage, so to speak.
Because they have to be in a room together in February is why.
Right.
So Lauren, this is an ask to go 2 years beyond when Elon says it's all over anyway. I feel like we're living in two very different realities.
Well, let's talk about what will be all over. Okay, right now, in spite of all of the new media, as we call it, you've got movie companies making movies and distributing them to theaters and putting them on streaming and all of that. But if, for example, and I know this leads into the next thing, these guys wind up controlled by Netflix, suddenly the theaters go away.
Yeah,
not suddenly, but very quickly they'll be gone. So at that point, one part of Hollywood, the distribution to theaters, is gone anyway. Okay.
And with that, this is the other part of that conversation, Lou, and please forgive me for interrupting you.
No, go for it.
But scale pay diminishes greatly because your daily rate or your weekly rate in Hollywood, if you're working on a basic theatrical release or a major film, it's $4,326 a week.
That's what job?
For just a basic theatrical release. Working at scale for
as a
basic theatrical release as an actor.
Okay.
Right. So again, I'm using the scale terms. A lot of people don't understand these, but for a low budget theatrical release, if you're paid at scale as an actor, it's $810 a day. So when we get to that, you're going to have to look at streaming. Is that going to be considered basic theatrical? Not anymore.
Well, they don't have a contract with the guild, so it doesn't matter. They can do whatever they want.
Well, but Netflix says they don't want to interrupt the guild system. Do you believe them?
No.
Culture.
Yeah.
You said 4,000. How much scale for a standard Hollywood?
For a regular actor working on a major film, the basic theatrical pay, if you get paid scale, is $4,326 a week.
Okay, but then you gave a number that was 800 and some for a low budget picture.
That's
per
for low
day.
budget. That's low budget. That's low budget theatrical pay. That's a per day rate.
But you said per day. That actually
$810. Well, it's actually if you're getting hired for like scale minimum rate in a big film, it's $1,246 a day.
Still not up to a Leering Center in Minnesota. I'm out.
No. It's much more profitable to have a Leering Center for sure.
And your agent's taking some of it, and the tax man is taking some of it.
Yeah,
your cost of living in Los Angeles is taking a whole big chunk of it.
Well, and that's the other problem, right? Because the cost to live in California is you just add on a 35 to 40% premium because the tax rates there across the board are making you poor. And imagine what you're paying. You're paying $8 a gallon for gas. I mean, it's a compounding problem if you live in California, but that's a different conversation.
Well, and understand, I don't know as much about them for SAG and AFTRA and WGA as I do about Directors Guild. But Directors Guild many years ago set up what we called special low budget agreements, which was if there was a company out there that was thinking of going non-union, but they'd really rather have the professionalism of the DGA. Not just remember that's not just the director.
They want to be considered independent.
Well, but if they want assistant directors and production managers from the DGA, they could cut a deal with the guild for lower rates, and the idea was keep them in the tent, as they say, peeing out rather than the other way around. And once they were in and signatories, as they got bigger, if they hit success, they would remain signatories. Now, I don't know.
I want to go to. I haven't had a chance to get to Lauren yet. Lauren, we seem to be living in two different realities. The tech bros, right? The Altmans, the Elons, they see a completely different world. Hollywood, at least the celebrities, they seem to believe everything's going to go on as normal. And I don't know what's going to happen here, but this extension of 5 years seems to me to be an indicator that at least the smart people at the table are realizing, no, we need to start playing for very much longer periods of time.
Well, they're always going to want to do that because it gives them an advantage. And I think we're actually sort of having two conversations here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that the actors think that things are going to go on as normal. I think they're going to fight tooth and nail to try and make it remain as normal as they can for as long as they can.
Well, and that's why the deal's being presented the way it is, Lauren, is they're trying to present, you can make this normal for longer if you sign this 5-year deal, and you're going to have this benefit of having your health insurance funded, despite the fact that there's a lot that's going to fall short because we're 40% lower on production starts, and that number's not going to get higher.
But we're 80% short on Lauren, so let me get him in there a little bit more.
Sorry.
That's how the studios are presenting it. But I think that there's a little bit of nearsightedness going on here with regards to the AI production. Yes, it's getting better all the time, and yes, I think that they're going to be able to do stuff that's going to look photorealistic in a much shorter period of time than you think. We're really close right now. But part of the appeal of that is that we're able to preserve existing actors at a particular age so that we can get continuations of things that happened before. Nostalgia is driving a lot of that.
At first, that will be, yes, I agree, at first.
And I think that there's going to be more of that in the future than you think. There is something about a naturalistic human performance that I don't think is easily replicated. You can create digital actors, and they can fulfill a purpose. But I do think that it's going to be very, very difficult to have a satisfying full emotional range out of a virtual actor for longer than you think. You may be able to make them look naturalistic.
Okay. Let me ask about that, Lauren. I gotta come back to you on this. This is fascinating to me. Right now, one of the issues that limits dramatically the number of people who can be an actor at the global level, right? Not at the local level at the theater, but at the global level is attractiveness. If you can wear an AI skin, let's say you can do a performance and AI can make you look like anybody. If that is available now to the average person, then they can be as beautiful, or they can be, a man can, look any way he wants. He can be anything, or a woman can be anything. Literally, Lauren, that might open up the door to many more actors to suddenly be a part of this.
It speeds up the process as well, and potentially avoids that hurdle of having a fully virtual performance. I agree with you there. But I think we get still into a territory of everything that you're seeing in the AI videos that we've been talking about, or almost everything that we're seeing, if we're talking about sets and backgrounds, is generated. It's not a real set or place. Sure. And there is a difference between shooting on location with real sets and props and people interacting with real things than there is in what would be a fully virtual environment. I'm not saying that acting doesn't take place in both, but the audience, I think that as AI becomes more and more available and more people keep doing it, I think you're going to see a kind of nostalgia for doing things.
Oh, yeah. Same with practical effects. Lou, take us out of this. Give us a final word on it.
There's only one problem with that. If the audience is bombarded by the AI universe every day on their YouTube and their TV, will they know the difference, and will they care after a certain point when all of us old farts who remember die off?
Well, and the other part of that, Lou, too, and I know I'm giving you the final word, but also the majesty of what can be created. Whether, the CGI artists who do the Transformer stuff, the Pandora stuff, the Marvel stuff, all that, like that now condenses down to meaningless because anybody can do it. So now all the special effects in the world don't matter a hill of beans compared to the story, the acting, the authenticity, the moral. Yes.
You used exactly the phrase that I wanted you to use, because I would say, does the ability to do any of that erase something like Casablanca?
No. No, Casablanca is still a masterpiece. Citizen Kane, still a masterpiece. The Bridge Over the River Kwai, still a masterpiece, to cite a Genre Guys member-exclusive content that just came out. Lou, I promise you the final word. I come back to you, sir. Take it away.
Just remember one thing. These studios, they hate each other. They are not united in these negotiations. True. They may pretend to be, but they're not. And I will give you a very brief anecdote from one of the ones I was involved with. It was the very first time that people were doing people with ping pong balls on them and a green screen in any serious way. And the issue with the Directors Guild was we staffed those second units. And it's a question of you have to have so many ADs there per number of people on the set because they have to sign people in and sign people out and get the vouchers done and all of that. Well, we had a deal that everybody liked, except the one studio that had a picture like that about to start, which was going to make that picture more expensive. And they said, well, you guys go to your room. We'll stay in our room. We'll talk about it. And I'm sitting there and I look out the window and the building where these negotiations go on is kind of a U-shaped office building. And I see this woman who represents the one studio who is doing the actual picture about to start. And she's screaming into her telephone, yelling, angry. Why? We found out later. The rest of them, after we left, told her, I tell you what, we'll make the deal. You go and have them strike you and you can do it on your own. That's the level of cutthroat, we don't really like each other competition that goes on here. So we'll see.
Lou, chances that the 5-year goes through.
I think slim if anybody's sensible. But, you know, is Sean Astin or anybody else playing to the homies or to the long-term reality? I don't know.
Oh, no. Lauren's going to be sad again. He's texted me last night about how bad the Odyssey's going to be. That guy needs a pick-me-up.
Ah, Lauren's feeling down in the dumps again, huh? Sounds like he's feeling forlorn. Nice setup, Floral.
Wilton, don't you have a bridge to haunt or something? Leave Lauren alone. He's not even here to deal with your nonsense.
Well, 'cause he's all alone. There's no one there beside him. I bet he's just lamenting about his boring life. You know, he probably needs WDW Pro to give him some good news. Like that Jonas was fired.
You're a pest, you know that? Lauren's fine. He's probably just, like, nervous or something. He's not sulking or anything.
Sulking? Oh, actually, he's probably just languishing. Picture it. Lorne staring at the movie screen. Lamenting that he has to be there. And then the film ends, and like a Christmas ornament that fell off a tree, he's shattered.
You're weird.
You know, I should troll the WDW Pro comments that Lauren's so down he's... Wait a minute. Lauren's so down, he's practically Lawrencescape art.
Yeah, and I'd be thrilled if you'd leave and do that. For a few hours. Actually, it'll help Pro in the algorithm by you leaving comments, or noise, or whatever, on all of Pro's videos.
Noise? I am a maestro of mirth. Lauren's my new canvas. Like a mom folding laundry. Oh, that one sucked.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I'm gonna go check out the next TPP article and get launched into the stratosphere of information. Nobody wants to be lonely. Everybody hurts sometimes.